A few days ago, I received a call with a 1-800 number from my bank, so I answered. Then the caller asked to speak with me, and I said I wasn't available, but if it was important, I could find him. So he said there were 2 unauthorized purchases attempted on my account for over $400. He asked if I had made those purchases, and I said no, I did not make those purchases. So red flags began going off all over the place. I remember if my bank had wanted to find out if I had approved a purchase, they would have texted me first, then have left a number that I could contact them. So he started trying to get information from me, and I declined, saying I would call back to make sure that the call was legit. He said that my caller ID should verify that the call was a legit number. I declined the second time, saying no, I'll call you back. So later on that day when I checked my account, I didn't see any records of any unauthorized purchases attempted. My wife was telling me that she was watching the news that they said scammers are going around emptying out people's banking accounts. So don't readily give out your personal information to anyone. Technology can be used to help and bring convenience to people's lives, and it can be used to destroy people's lives. Unfortunately, there are those out there that don't care about destroying people's lives by taking their life savings. They only care about making $1 for themselves. $400 may be all you have to get by with, but scammers don't care. They want that too. First Malachi 4, and it came to be that King Shalomar was king over all Yesharal. And these were the chief officials, Yahuah, son of Zadok the priest, Elikoreth and Achiah, son of Shisha, scribe, Jehoshaphat, son of Achilu, the recorder, and Ben-Yahuah, the son of Yehoiada, over the army, and Zadok and Abiathar, the priest, and Yahuah, son of Nathan, over the officers, and Zabud, son of Nathan, a priest, friend of the king, and Agashar over the household, and Adoniram, son of Abda, over the compulsory labor. And Shalomar had 12 governors over all Yesharal to provide food for the kings and his household. Each one made provision for 1 month of the year. And these were their names: Ben-Hur in the mountains of Ephraim, Ben-Degur in Makas and Shalbim, and Elon Beit Canaan, Begazed of Araboth, Soka, and all the land of Kepher were his. Ben-Abinadab, all the heights of Dor, Taphet, the daughter of Shalomar, became his Ashar. Bana, son of Achilu, and Tinak, and Magdan, and all Bashin, which is besides Zarethan, below Yeshua, from Bashin to Abel Makola, as far as the other side of Buknan, Ben-Geber, and Ramoth Gilead. The towns of Gilead, son of Manasseh, and Gilead were his. The portion of Abgar in Bashan, 60 large cities with walls and bronze gates, bars were his. Akinadab, son of Adur of Marcanaim, Achimas in Naphtali, and also to Basmath, the daughter of Shalomar, as a Shah. Bana, son of Cushai, in Asher, and in Elith. Jehoshaphat, son of Peruach, in Yishishkar. Shimei, son of Allah, in Beyamin. Gerber, son of Uri, in the land of Gilead. In the land of Sikon, king of the Amorites, and of Og, Bashan, and one of the governors was in the land. Yehoiada and Yesharal was as the numbers of the sands by the sea, eating and drinking and rejoicing. And Shalomar was ruling over all the reigns of the rivers to the land of the Philistines, as far as the borders of the Mishram. They did taskwork and served Shalomar all the yemen of his life. And Shalomar's food supply for 1 yom was 30 chors of fine flour and 60 cors of meal, 10 fattened cattle and 20 cattle from the pastures, and 100 sheep besides deers and gazelles and roebucks and fattened fowl. For he was ruling over all this side of the river from Tifsak ever to Azar, round about him. And Yehoiada and Yesharal drove safely, each man under his vine and his fig tree, from Dan as far as Beersheba, all the yemen of Shalomar. And Shalomar had 40,000 stalls of horses for his chariots, and 12,000 horsemen. They also brought barley and straw to the appointed place for each horse instead, each one according to his lawfulness. And Elohim gave Shalimah exceeding great wisdom and understanding, and largeness of heart like the sands of the seashore. And Shalimah's wisdom exceeded the wisdom of all the men of the east, and all the wisdom of Mishram. And he was wiser than all men, than Ethan the Ahasarahite, and Herman, and Karkel, and Dada the son of Michal. And his name was in all the Gallium round about. And he spoke 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005. And he spoke of trees, from cedar trees to Lebanon, even to the hyssop that sprang out of the walls. And he spoke of the beasts and the birds, and of creeping creatures, and of fish. And there came from all the people, from all the kings of the rest, who had heard of his wisdom, to hear the wisdom of Shalimah. So at this point in Shalimah's life, people from all around, from surrounding countries and from far distant lands, came to see the wonders of King Shalimah. At this point, I don't know if Shalimah is giving an esteem to the father Yahuah. It reminds me of the time when King Nebuchadnezzar building the great empire Babylon. Even though Yahuah gave him the ability to build the empire, he esteemed himself for doing the work. Yahuah had already told Shalimah if he walked in the steps of his father David, he would prolong his life. So I'm hoping that in these series of the book of Malachim, we find some of these answers. The past chapters speak of Shalimah having 3,000 mashals and 1,005 songs. KJV speaks of only 31 mashals and only 8 songs. So how was it determined which mashals and which songs were inspired by Yahuah? Mashal 1, Proverbs of Shalimah, son of David, king of Yasharal. For knowing wisdom and discipline, for understanding the words of understanding, for receiving the discipline of wisdom, obedience, lawfulness, and straightness, for giving insight to the simple, knowledge and discretion to the young. The wise ones hear and increase in learning, and the understanding ones get wise counsel. For understanding a proverb and a figure, the words of the wise and their riddles. The fear of Yahuah is beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline. My son, heed the discipline of your father, and do not forsake the Torah of your mother, for they are a fair garland on your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not give in. If they say, come with us, let us lie in wait for blood, let us ambush the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them alive like the graves, and entirely like those going down to the pit. Let us find all precious goods, let us fill our house with spoil. Cast in your lot among us, let us all have one purse. My son, do not walk in the way with them, keep your foot from their path. For their feet run to evil, and they hurry to shed blood. For in vain the net is spread in sight of any bird. For they lie in wait for their own blood, they ambush their own lives. Such are the ways of everyone greedy for gain. It takes away the lives of its owners. Wisdom calls aloud outside. She raises her voice in the broad places. At the head of the noisy street she cries out. At the opening of the gates in the city she speaks her works. How long, you simple ones, would you love simplicity, and shall scoffers delight in their scoffing, and fools hate knowledge? Turn at my reproof. See, I pour out my ruach on you. I make my words known to you. Because I call and you refuse, I have stretched out my hand, and no one inclined. And you spurn all my counsel, and will not yield to my reproof. Let me also laugh at your calamities. Mark when your dread comes. When your dread comes like a storm, when your calamities comes like a whirlwind, when distress and anguish comes upon you. Let them then call on me, but I answer not. Let them seek me, but not find me. Because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahuah. They did not accept my counsel. They despised all my reproof. Therefore let them eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own counsels. For the turning away of the simple slays them, and the complacencies of fools destroy them. But whosoever listens to me dwells safely, and is at ease from the dregs of evil. Scripture says Solomon had 3,000 proverbs and 105 songs. KJV has 31 proverbs, far less than what is written about him having 3,000 proverbs. So my question are there some proverbs that Yahuah inspired to be added? Or are there some proverbs not added? Sometimes Yahuah's blessings aren't intended to be passed down to others. You live your life trying to please the Father by obedience and living according to His will. This could lead to prosperity and blessings from Yahuah. Sometimes what Yahuah has for you is meant for you. You dedicate your time trying to live a good life. With Yahuah's mercy, you find motivation to go to work every day, and that takes time and sacrifices. In the end, Yahuah has rewarded you with provisions to provide for you and your family. So I look at a retirement from a career job like a heritage from Yahuah. Even though we're not perfect creatures, we try to serve the Father in a good way. If you come through life without having too many stumbling blocks, you didn't go through 2 or 3 marriages, and supporting other families can result into blessings. Esau lost his family heritage because it didn't seem important enough to him at that time. We should be careful not to swindle away our blessings. Some people may see it as a curse instead of a blessing by having and not sharing. There is a difference between sharing and swindling away. I don't see people that make a sacrifice 20, 30, 40 plus years of their lives by working for a living considered a curse. You make the decision to go to work for a living. You don't take a shortcut in doing so, and Yahuah has blessed you because of it. But I know there's a lot of people out there that don't see it that way. Yahuah's blessing is everlasting. Tahillim 21. The king rejoices in your strength, Yahuah, and how greatly he exalts in your deliverance. You have given him the desire of his heart, and you have not withheld the request of his lips. Selah. For you have put before him the blessings of goodness. You set a crown of fine gold on his head. He has life from you, and you gave it to him, length of Yemen forever and ever. Through your deliverance his esteem is great. You have laid excellency and splendor on him. For you have made him most blessed forever. You have made him glad with the joy of your preserve. For the king is trusting in Yahuah, and through the kindness of the highest one he is not moved. Your hand reaches all your enemies. Your right hand reaches those who hate you. You make them as a furnace of fire in the time of your presence. Yahuah swallows them up in his wrath, and fire consumes them. You destroy their fruits from the arrest, and their seeds from among the sons of men. For they held out evil against you. They devised a plot. They do not prevail. For you make them turn their backs when you aim your bowstrings towards their face. Be exalted. Yahuah is your strength. We sing and we praise your might. You can receive blessings in many forms and shapes. There are blessings of good health. There are blessings of prosperity. There are blessings of knowing the Father, Yahuah, and there are blessings of eternal life. There are people that may look at some family lines as blessed and some family lines as being cursed. But you got to be careful on how you judge others, because by doing so you may bring judgment on yourself. So as neighbors, let us all love one another. Romans 12. I call upon you, therefore, brother, through the compassion of Yahuah, to present your body as a living offering, Kadesh, well-pleasing to Yahuah, your reasonable worship. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you prove what is that good and well-pleasing and perfect desire of Yahuah. For I say through the favor which has been given to me, to everyone who is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he should think, but to think soberly, as Yahuah has given each a measure of belief. For as we have many members in one body, but all members do not have the same function, so we the many are one body in Mashiach, and members each one of one another. Now having different gifts according to the favor which was given to us, let us use them accordingly. If prophecy, according to the proportion of belief. If serving, in the serving, or he who is teaching, in the teaching. Or he who encourages, in the encouragement, or he who is sharing in sincerity, he who is leading in diligence, he who shows compassion joyously. Let love be without hypocrisy, shrink from what is wicked, cling to what is good. In brotherly love, tenderly loving towards one another, in appreciation, giving preference to each other. Not idle in duty, ardent in ruach, serving Adonai, rejoicing in expectancy, enduring under pressure, continuing steadfastly in prayer, imparting to the need of the Kadesh ones, pursuing kindness towards strangers. Bless those who persecute you, bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice, and weep with those who weep. Be of the same mind towards one another. Do not be proud in mind, but go along with the lowly. Do not be wise in your own estimation. Repay no one evil for evil. Respect what is right in the sight of all men. If possible, on your part, be at peace with all men. Beloved, do not revenge yourself, but give place to the wrath, for it has been written, vengeance is mine, I shall repay, says Yahuah. Instead, if your enemy hungers, feed him. If he thirsts, give him a drink, for in so doing he shall heap coals of fire on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. A lot of people in most cases struggle in the beginning of their job careers with or without a partner. My wife always wanted to work even after I gave her the option not to work. I was 21 and she was 19 when we got married. That's very rare to find two people wanting to get married at that age, especially in the times we now live in. I had a 73 Mercury Cougar that kept breaking down on me, so I wish I could ride to work during the time when my car didn't want to work. I was only a 4th class specialist, so we had to live paycheck to paycheck. But at our age, we figured it out and made it work. I won't go into our life story, so fast forwarding up to today, I feel we came a long way from back then. And we shared money with family members, but you want to be careful on how you share with others. If you have family that have a line of their standards of living and they want you to keep them there or give them a higher standard, to me, I call that opportunity. You don't want them always looking for the easy road. You hope the family can learn how to do for themselves before looking at you. If I see a family member making an effort, but things just can't seem to get on track, I can see stepping up and assisting them. But if I see someone swindling money and spending carelessly, then coming to me for assistance, I call that taking advantage. There's no growth there to be spoken of. Sometimes people keep digging deeper holes for themselves, but expect someone else to get them out of it. So the question is, why are you digging this hole deeper? I don't mind giving, but I don't want to swindle away money. I know Yahuah gives prosperity to some more than others, but there may be a good explanation on why he does it that way. I give you an example on how some may handle prosperity better than others. My wife and I were driving on our way home when we came to this street corner. There was this lady with a sign asking for money. I can't remember what the sign said, but I asked my wife to see if we had anything on us. Well, she said all she had was a $20 bill, so I asked her to give it to her. I believe this is why I received some prosperity from Yahuah, because he knows I have a giving heart to do things like that. The same way in restaurants, I like tipping the waiter. You have people that are afraid to leave a good tip or too stingy to leave a tip. But by doing so, they may be robbing their own blessings. It's not like you're giving them a tip. They earn that tip. So I don't see why people are so stingy towards people waiting on them. Sometimes it's the little things that pleases Yahuah. People need to put themselves in check. Are you one of those people that don't give tips to waitresses but expect others to do for you? Yahuah see all things. But I see a difference in giving to someone that's in need and giving to someone who just think you have something to give. Prosperity comes from Yahuah Elohim. It shouldn't be someone's responsibility to keep you in your standard. You're spending money all over the place and asking for someone else to help you spend more money. There is a difference in giving to someone in need or just giving. Thanks for watching and thanks for sharing. I hope you found a blessing from this video. And feel free to leave a comment. If Yahuah is willing, I'll see you on the next video. So until then, stay blessed and be blessed, and may Yahuah continue to bless. Hallelujah. Praise Yahuah.